Transition Awareness Breathing. Feeling grounded for both children and parents is essential for healthy living and learning. Join Eartha Powell on this series for tips and tools for creating a harmonious environment for learning. Transition Awareness Breathing will help you and your child find an individualized path to tackle change, promote lifelong learning, and discover new approaches to calmness.
Welcome. Make yourself comfortable. I'm so happy you're joining us today. I would like to start our session off with a pondering thought. How do you measure time? Time. Years ago, time was measured with the setting of the sun, the constellations at different points in the sky, the sundial, the clocks, the ticking of clocks, the alarms, the going off, the sounds, the bings, time, measuring time. In a digital age, we measure time digitally with our cell phones, with our computers, with our reminders, with Siri, with our calendars. Time. How are we measuring time now? But maybe the next step in that question is, how do we measure our value of time? Welcome to Transition Awareness Breathing Podcast. This is Eartha. Before I go any further, I'd like to thank Web Talk Radio for allowing me to have a platform to bring Transition Awareness Breathing Podcast to you at this time. And thank you, Mary Lou and Sam, my producers, for making Transition Awareness Breathing Podcast available to my listeners anywhere they go at their time. So, have you kind of figured out we're going to talk about time? At this point of the year, you walk through the stores and there's all kinds of articles pointing to time, the saying goodbye of one year, the saying hello of another year. And we can get wrapped up into the celebration of the changing of the years. And as we are fortunate to bring in another year, how do we learn from the year that we were given? Time. 24 hours a day, evenly distributed to each and every person. Time. It seems so easy. It seems so easy to say and follow our calendars and keep on a schedule so that we can complete our goals throughout the year. And yet, we can lose a period of time. And I want to open a thought and suggest how the practice of mindfulness helps in whatever dynamic you choose to use mindfulness, whether you use it in a non-religious platform or a religious platform. The mindfulness part helps to capture and reflect the value of your time. I wonder, how many more pictures are we going to see on the social media? Those who have gone, those who were born, those who have changed, and those who seem to stay the same. Time continues to move regardless of the pictures. And we change regardless if we're ready or not. One thing I think is so valuable is we cannot stop time. That is true. But spending time to stop for a moment, 5 minutes, and reflect on the positive changes that we have experienced throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the year, and the changes and the experiences that were not so positive that we see at the time, to reflect on those, because everything happens for a reason in time. And at that moment, maybe we can now reflect and see that some of those things that we perceived that was not so positive at that time worked out for the best. And for whatever reason, the best cannot be visualized at this time. We are in the process of moving through the clouds that creates boundaries and borders that prevents us from moving on, moving forward, and seeing the growth in ourselves. May I share a story? I so enjoyed spending time with my daughter today. It wasn't anything fancy. We started off drinking coffee and we talked. And we moved from the coffee shop to the backyard at home, and we talked. And the weather was beautiful. It was mild. It was sunny. And it was a comfort. It was a gift that couldn't have been packaged any better. And one thing that my daughter said, that she was so happy to spend time with me. And I was very, very delighted as well to spend time with her as she transitions from this teenage stage into her adulthood. She shared with me a point in time, without judgment, without asking anything from her, just sharing time, without rushing, without writing, just sharing the time. And I explained to her how this was a part of caring for yourself when you spend some time and reflect and just see where you're at and feel good about the time that you have grown through different things in your life, and realizing that she's experiencing many things for the first time in her life. It was such a wonderful present. It was such a treasure. Another story, if you don't mind. If you've ever known someone who has been battling an illness and they're fighting very hard to return to a level of wellness that they experienced maybe 10, 15 years ago, but the body is tired and the reserves are low, so low that even talking is a lot of energy. Can you imagine the amount of exertion that it takes for a person that was so critically and chronically ill, how much energy that must take? And so there may be a day that you or someone you love go and visit that person and they've mustered enough energy to say hi, just to say hi. And after that, they drift back off into a sleepy state or into quietness. And you realize that you had not heard that person's voice in such a long time. They've been battling this illness and they've been struggling, and they used that precious voice and the muscles in their throat to say hi to you at this time. And you realize what a gift they gave you. And you appreciate the time. And you'll always remember that hi, that time. I would like to challenge you to reflect, not so much in nostalgic type of reflection, but at the present moment of awareness reflection of right now, at the time, and realize what gifts are being presented to you at this time. Even during this podcast, time has moved on, and it is my wish that one thought or one suggestion helps during this time. It's a time that was not promised to us a few seconds ago, but we realized we accomplished it. And if we are gifted with tomorrow, let us be thankful for today. At the end of the day, at the very end of the day, before we drift off into tiredness, to reflect on the time that we've had together. Oh, well, that's just seems so bizarre. It's so corny. It's so unrealistic. Who does that? Who does that? If tomorrow you knew that tomorrow would be your last day here on this earth, or maybe you'll be moving to another country or another job, and you had to say goodbye to all the cherished friends and family, and reflect on the time, the good times, the not so good times, and to realize that we don't have to wait until the end of something to appreciate the time. And that's where the mindfulness and the awareness and the self-compassion comes from. My goodness, we may not be where we want to be, but let's be thankful for where we are at, and use what we've learned to grow closer to where we would like to venture. My friends, I thank you for joining me in Transition Awareness Breathing Podcast. I realize you could have used your time to do something else. I am honored and I am so thankful that you took the time to join me in Transition Awareness Breathing Podcast. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you next time.
Be sure and pick up a copy of Eartha's new book, Tab Mindfulness, Awareness and Coloring Activities in a Pandemic World. It's not just an ordinary coloring book. It features 23 illustrations to stimulate thought, relaxation, and creativity for anyone between the ages of 4 and 94. Increase your positive self-talk energy, unlock new creative paths, transform your time once or twice a week to create beautiful art while strengthening confidence, building positive self-talk, and sensitize self-awareness. Tab Mindfulness, Awareness and Coloring Activities in a Pandemic World. It's available now at Amazon.com.